Conqueror's Blade has been live for, well, over 3 years now, and so I wanted to do kind of a little review for 2023 and ask, is Conqueror's Blade still worth playing? For full disclosure, I've been playing the game since it launched 3 years ago. I have thousands of hours in this game, but I am not getting any money, in-game resources or anything like that. Hell, they don't even know I'm making this video, because I want to be able to cover the negatives as much as the positives for this game. So, what is Conqueror's Blade? What is the game all about? So, Conqueror's Blade is a medieval multiplayer PvP MMO. It allows you to take control of a hero and command a unit with you as you face off against other players. And actually, I think this is really one of the game's main positives. Its uniqueness. There just really isn't a lot else like it currently available that plays like Conqueror's Blade. It's kind of like a cross between Mount and Blade and Dynasty Warriors if it was all online. There are currently 13 different hero weapons to use, over 100 different units for your command, tech trees, an open world, etc. And the AI troops are actually pretty varied. There are shields, pike infantry, maces, archers, crossbows, muskets, cavalry, etc. and quite a lot more. And whilst you can be powerful as a hero, so are your troops. They make a real impact on the fight, which is actually really kind of nice to see. This is then all bundled together into these 15v15 PvP siege battles. One side is tasked with defending the castle, and the other responsible for basically assaulting the walls, getting siege towers in place, battering rams to the gates, forcing their way in, and taking control of a number of capture points around the map, whilst the defenders try and hold them off for a set period of time. There is also a crafting system for hero weapons and armour, a full tech tree for the units, and various seasonal challenges and units. And this is where I want to move on to cover one of the more negative aspects of the game, the grind. As you play battles in Conqueror's Blade, you'll earn honour. This can be then spent on the tech tree to unlock new units, or to some extent upgrade existing units. This certainly feels a little bit daunting initially. There is quite a lot to unlock, and it is a decent grind to get to the higher tier units, although with the new player tutorials now on the F4 quests, they are a lot better, and they do give you a solid boost into the game on the unit tech tree. For me, I think the real problem with grinding comes with the seasonal units. Every 3 months, or approximately around that, a new season comes out. We, for example, have recently finished the Roman Season 13 and are now currently going through the Ancient Persian Season in Season 14. That means that new players have 14 seasons worth of unit-specific quests to grind through, and they are by no means short. I've often, in the past, made the comparison between this game's grind and the grind in World of Tanks, and I think the analogy is kind of still relevant. This game's grind isn't quite as bad as World of Tanks, that's got a real grind, but many of the mechanics are similar, and there is a decent grind, particularly on some of the seasonal unit quests. And talking about some of those seasonal challenges, let's cover pay to win in Conqueror's Blade. When I did this video last year, I found that people really seem to have strongly different opinions on descriptions of what is and what isn't pay to win. So rather than trying to pass an opinion of it, I'll just kind of give you the facts about how it works, and then you can kind of decide for yourselves. So, seasonal challenges. Yes, you can pay to skip the seasonal unit challenges. It doesn't give you access to unique units that other players can't get, but it does allow you to unlock the seasonal units significantly quicker than any other players if you pay to do it. So you can skip out the challenges. There are no purchasable hero weapons or hero armour in the game, only hero and unit skins. They change your characters or your heroes and your units' physical appearance, but it actually has zero impact on unit or hero performance. It doesn't change any of your characteristics. There are currently 5 premium units in the game. They can be purchased through in-game currency, i.e. without using any real money, or they can also be purchased for premium currency. As units, I would say, and I think most players would agree with me, that they are distinctly worse than their equivalent units. Sea Stag Death Dealers, the premium musket unit, are probably the worst unit currently in the game, by quite a long way. They are truly awful. But using them in battle gives a 10% buff to your bronze unit experience and hero XP rewards at the end of the battle, so it's allowing you to progress slightly quicker. The game also runs a premium account system, which basically gives you just a flat 30% increase of rewards at the end of battles. Kind of in a very short summary, everything in the game can be unlocked for free. There isn't really anything that's behind a paywall other than some of the cosmetic stuff, but you can do some pretty serious corner cutting if you throw money at it, and I'll leave it to you to decide if that's pay to win or not. A problem that has plagued the game for many years and is really difficult for the developers to actually sort out is unit balance. There are over 100 units in the game, and each is really kind of unique, with different abilities, weapons, strengths and weaknesses. And with new units being added regularly, as well as buffs and nerfs making changes to how a unit performs, it can often end up with some unexpected consequences. And we normally seem to end up in a situation where a small handful of units end up becoming sort of like the meta. They are the overpowered units of that time period, and they sort of end up dominating the battlefield. They do now seem to be making balance changes much more rapidly than they have in previous seasons, which is obviously a good thing, but it can be kind of pretty frustrating when just a few units end up completely dominating the battlefield. Finally, what is the endgame content like? The core of the game is always going to remain as these sort of 15v15 siege battles, but there is also a lot more to do. For example, territory wars. This is where clans of players are going to fight on the overworld map to control villages, towns, castles, with pretty good rewards available for doing so successfully. You can even become sort of champion of the season. There are also ranked battles, hero-only death matches, quite a lot of special events and game modes that you can get stuck into. You know, is it going to be enough to keep you entertained indefinitely? Probably not. But it's certainly going to keep you busy for quite a long period of time, certainly hundreds of hours. Now, I know this has kind of been quite a sort of speed run of a review, but I wanted to keep the video fairly short. I just want this to be a concise review of Conqueror's Blade. But we do have to go back to the original question. Is Conqueror's Blade worth playing? In my opinion, yes. I've played it for the past 3 years for the simple reason I find it to be a lot of fun. And there are times where I get fed up with the game, put it down for a few weeks, but it's never really very long before I just get that real desire to get back into game, pick it up and play a siege battle. However, I would say, approach this game with your eyes wide open. It is not perfect. The balance can really suck at times. I don't love the monetization. The game has its share of problems. But if you can get over them, then it is a pretty epic, free-to-play medieval game.